Hi there, Lindsay here, the Frugal Crafter. Are you ready to get inky? Well, I am, and I have been obviously because my hairs are orange. But I'm going to show you how you can do some really fun marker techniques today. I was just sent the neon markers by Letraset, a sample so that I could kind of see what I thought, check them out, try them out. And I'm going to do a project today with them. So if you have them, or you have their regular aqua markers, or you have any other watercolor markers, you can follow along. Even Crayolas will work. Because we're going to just have some fun today. And also, we're going to use all sorts of different stuff. And one thing I'm loving lately is stencils. And I wanted to share with you how I store my stencils. I got this expandable file folder at Target for $1 in the dollar spot. They carry these during back to school time, which, you know, you might even get it cheaper now because kids have started school. But like I stick in like, you know, this was a Pokemon Poke Chip waste material my son gave me because he knows I love stuff like that. I have some little like fences that I die cut on my die cutter that I can spray ink through that I just kind of stuck in here. Some out of cardstock, some are out of acetate. Leftovers, like I did some turkeys with the kids in my children's classrooms, and I had all these leftover pieces of cardstock where I cut the feathers, and I saved that for stencils. So I put all of these leftover die cuts that kind of the backgrounds look cool because I can use them for stencils, so I put them right in here. Oh, this is for my chevron chic kit from Lindsay Stamp Stuff. This is my chevron stencil, so that's kind of fun, and you can use it over and over again. And that's just cardstock, but you can cut it out of acetate. Also, I have like stencils that I've purchased. Honestly, I have bought stencils in my life. Where are they? Oh, here they are. These are some, they got their $2.50 clearance sticker on them. These are just some templates, and I'm going to tell you what I did here, which is also handy, because you probably saw when I was trying to put them back in the folders, they kind of snag on each other. So here, these Crafters Workshop ones, I just slit to the end so I can slide the stencil in and out of the package. And so I store them in the package against the back so I can see what the pattern is, but then I can easily pull it out when I want to use it. So we're going to use some stencils. Also, like this was on the top of a thing of plums, and there was like holes already punched in it. And so I saved it because it would be a really cool stencil. And I also use like the big wall stencils, and I have stencils from like, you know, 10 years ago. Really, really handy. Anytime I see them at like a discount shop for like $1 or less, I'll just grab them because, you know, they can be used over and over again. So why don't we come down to the mat and take a look and have some good inky fun. Here we go. Alrighty, we are here at the table. This is my previous experiment. I'm really pleased with the way it came out. I think I did a few too many techniques, but I kind of just like to play, and this was, you know, my kids are back in school. It's kind of my first day in my studio just to play and not be interrupted, so this is what I did. And I want to show you some of the techniques I used because I think that it'll be a nice refresher on how to use some supplies that you probably already have. So the first thing I'm going to do is get a piece of watercolor paper, and I really like this paper. It is by Fabriano. It is the Aquarello Watercolor Studio Pad. It's 75 sheets of 9x12 cold pressed paper, but it's not that bumpy, so it's okay for stamping. It's only 90 pounds, and it's very inexpensive. I got this pad for about 14 bucks at Blick Art Materials online, and it was, you know, 14 bucks, not bad for 90 sheets, so you can feel like you're not wasting it. You don't have to worry, which I hate when I have expensive materials and I'm so afraid that I'm going to ruin them that I don't even use them. I'm going to use my Mega Mount and this huge butterfly stamp. This butterfly stamp is by Tattered Angels. I got it several years ago, so I don't know if it's still available. I think I saw it on Joann.com a while ago. It's inky currently because I didn't clean it when I just used it, so I'm just kind of gingerly tapping it down. Normally I just really, you know what, let me just go on some scrap paper and give it a good press, and I know it's on there good. I hate it when I stamp and I end up with the stamp falling on my paper. It happens way too often. Alright, I'm using VersaFine black ink because I want a nice super black that's going to stick to this rather cheap stamp. It's, you know, one of those silicone-y type stamps, not the great good clear, it's kind of the cheap clear, but I just love the design so much that I bought it. And I want to make sure it's good and covered. Looks pretty good. And I like the clear stamps on watercolor paper better than rubber just because they have more squish to them, so they tend to handle the texture a little bit better. And I think I want to put this on an angle since I'm using a big enough sheet. And I'm going to give it a good press as I stamp it down. There, that's a pretty good impression. Now I'm going to use a little embossing powder, and I'm using black because I want a really black butterfly here. I want the glossiness. I want the raised area to kind of help me with my coloring. You could use clear, that's fine. I just want to make sure it's going to be really black. And when I'm using embossing powder, since I don't want to waste, I'll do it over a scrap of paper. And that way I can pour the leftover embossing powder back into the jar, like so. I usually end up getting powder all over the place. On my clear powder and my white powder, I kind of have a big tray that I keep it in, but my other powders I don't use as much. I keep in their original containers. But if I found I was using the black a lot, I would just get a shallow Tupperware dish and just keep it in there all the time and just spoon it over. So that way I wouldn't have to even, bother with that every time. All right, I like to give my paper, I'm doing this off camera, but you can hear it, just a little flick from behind to kind of brush off any embossing powder, and I'm just going to heat this up with my heat gun. Make sure it's glossy. You want to make sure you heat it all up. Just in case you're thinking I have a super duper fast heat gun, I sped that part of the video up so you wouldn't have to sit and watch me heat emboss this entire huge butterfly. As I tip it, you can see that it's all shiny. That means all the powder has melted. I can even brush it off a little bit just to be sure. Now I got a few smudges. I'm not going to worry about that because that's going to be the least of my worries after I have all these colors and whatnot put on. So let's go ahead and grab some markers. I was just sent these neon markers by Letraset. They're brand new. So I got a chance to sample them out and try them. So thank you, Letraset. It's awesome. I love trying new things. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw some of this color on, and I'm going to use the bigger end. You could use whatever watercolor markers you have. And I'm just throwing in the color. These are nice and juicy, so there's a long open time for blending. Open time is basically how long your material will stay wet. I'm just gonna, I'm just throwing in some color. I'm not even worried about being in the lines that much because, this is gonna be a very loose, artsy type of project. Pink. Whoops, I want the bold end here. These colors do blend really well. These neon markers are nice and bright and crisp, and I really love that because I'm a fan of the bright colors. I was a kid in the 80s. I remember wearing the neon clothes, the neon sunglasses, and the hypercolor shirts, parachute pants. That was probably a little closer to the 90s. But anyways, I love the bright colors. We've had the browns have been in style for so long. I think it's time that we got back to some brighter colors, don't you? You can even see as I overlap the colors how easily they want to blend. I'm going out of the lines. I don't even care. Just having fun. I should have taken all these markers out of their package before I began. These would go really well with some of the markers you probably already have that are a little bit more muted. The thing that I was concerned with these is light fastness, because neon usually will fade, but these are supposed to be really well rated for light fastness, so I'm kind of excited about that. Look at that, I can just kind of go right over that kind of neon peach color and blend it with my yellow if I want to. Now I don't want to put my marker away. See the nib of that, it's all dirty. I wouldn't want to put it away like that, so I'm just going to scribble off that marker until it runs, wow, that's bright, isn't it? Until it runs clear. And I actually am going to put some more borders around. I really like that color. Been to the fair recently. Took the kids to the fair the other day, and there's always lots of neon colors. I was influenced. And I'm going to do kind of a blended background out here in a bit. Alright. So then I'm going to take my water brush, and I originally got this water brush a few years ago to use with my watercolor paints, because I thought it would be, because originally it was marketed to artists to take, you know, on the road with their watercolor paints, so when they're, you know, painting on location, they don't have to carry a bucket of water. And I didn't really like it for that, because I like to paint with juicy color, and my color would backwash into the barrel of the brush, and I would end up with a mucky, watery brush, and then my colors weren't vibrant, and I didn't like that. To clean your water brush, you also just scribble it off onto the side. And so I kind of put it away and didn't really give it much thought until I came to stamping and realized it was just a great way to blend my colors for markers and colored pencils and stuff where you don't have that much pigment to worry about dirtying stuff up. So look how well that blends. Isn't that kind of pretty? It's like psychedelic or something. Alright, now I want to liquefy this, so I'm just kind of going in and dragging some of the color around, giving it a more painterly look. Yellow blends out really well for some reason. Colors with red don't want to blend quite as well, but you can see it's still moving around. Again, I'm not worried about it because I'm just kind of using this as a practice for different techniques. If it turns out looking good, I don't know, maybe I'll cut it up and use it on a card, or I don't know, make a little wall hanging or something, or a background for a scrapbook page. I don't know. I'm not worried about the end result. I'm just kind of having fun playing with the process. I want to throw in some, you know, I want to do some pink and some blue so I can get some purples. So I think I'm just going to throw a little blue in here. I just dig these bright colors. They might be a bit much for you, but you'll see in a few steps how we can kind of mute them. Now look at them. They just want to blend to purple without even much work. But I can use this right over the wet paper if I want to. Some of the water might soak up into the nib, and might make the ink come out light for a little bit, but I'm not going to worry about that. They'll go back to, oops, I should have cleaned that brush off. They'll go back to normal. And just wipe it off in my squeeze out some water and wipe it in my margins to get it to calm down a bit. Actually, you could just do the butterfly, cut it out, mount it on a card or a scrapbook page and call it good. But I figured while I'm at it, I might as well just show you some background techniques. Why not? It's easy enough to do. Somebody was asking me about the color spritzer tool the other day. I wonder if these markers would work in it. You know, I think I'm going to go grab it. I'm going to go see if it will work. Hold on one second. You gotta find out with me whether these markers will fit in here, first of all. Oh, they will. Look at this. Okay. This is a color spritzer tool from Stampin' Up. I'm just hoping they work with these markers because I've never tried it. You'll see it here first. And I'm just going to, I removed this little collar that goes on the inside. Okay, let's see. When you get the tool, it looks like this. And that's where you put your normal skinny markers in. But you can take this part out, and you can put in a bigger marker. And you want to put your marker in so it just goes past the tip there, the tip of the air blower thing, the bulb syringe, and tighten on the screw so it stays in there good. And let's see if that will spray. Yes, it does. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's kind of something fun we can do there. See, it just kind of gives you a little bit of a burst of spatters there. Oh, that was fun. Let's try that again. Let's try that with some blue. You know, that would be kind of cool over a stencil. Why don't we throw a stencil down there? What should we use? Let's try this. Let's try these flowers. Why not? Put that there. Let's get a nice blue, because the blue's a little darker. Give that a try. So this is a color spritzer. You can get something similar at the craft store. They make these things called blendy pens, and they have a little spritzer thing you can get too. They only fit the markers that come with it, whereas the Stampin' Up! Color spritzer will fit whatever markers you have, which is awesome. I like to buy tools that I can use with everything I already have, so I don't have to, you know, buy a whole set of markers just for one effect. I think that's a drag. I like everything to be able to be used with everything else. And I'm sure you do too if you're watching my YouTube channel or watching my blog, because otherwise, you know, why would you care? Why would you watch a Frugal Crafter if you weren't looking to get more use out of your supplies? You could just go and buy all kinds of stuff, right? All right, so there. So we use that with a stencil. That was kind of fun. What else can we do here? What else do we got? Oh, you know, another thing I like to do with stencils is I like to lay a stencil over my stuff, which is still a little wet, but I'm not going to bother trying to heat set it right now. And then I like to stamp over a stencil, so you kind of get a pattern. That's exactly kind of a pattern. That's exactly what you get. You get a pattern. Oh my goodness, folks. Okay, so I'm going to use again some clear stamps because they're nice and squishy, and these happen to be the also by Tattered Angels. Not affiliated, just I like these. I like these big stamps. Actually, I bought this mega mount because that butterfly stamp, I had to literally put it on a big candle, glass jar candle to stamp it because I didn't have a mount big enough. So let me just ink that up with a little of my pigment ink. Doesn't really matter, you can use what you have, but pigment ink does like to stick to these cheap stamps a little bit better. And I'm just going to go and stamp. I'm going to push really hard because I want it to get through the stencil. And I know you're not supposed to rock it back and forth, but I'm trying to push through the layer of the stencil, so I am rocking it, so sue me. Let's do that up in the other corner too. And I'm going to try to avoid the butterfly a little bit and just kind of get it on the paper. There. Now, while the stencil's still in place, to enhance the pattern, I'm going to spray over it. Now, I could use my little thingy here, my little color spritzer. I think they're about 12 bucks. I think when I bought it, it was 10, but I think it's gone up if the Stampin' Up! Catalog still carries it. Hopefully they do. Oh, another little tip. You could tear, if you can do, it's a movable mask. When you're airbrushing, sometimes you just kind of tear paper and you make like a movable mask. And this kind of just protects an area loosely that you want to protect. And I want to keep my butterfly from getting too much extra ink on it because I like the bright colors. So I've torn this piece of paper. And actually, the last time I used a stencil on this one here, to clean the stencil, I actually pressed it on this paper, and that's why I've got that cool pattern on there. So it's kind of a nice way to use up your supplies. Nice little torn mask here. And you just can kind of move it as you go. And it just keeps you from getting too much on the butterfly. There's my furnace kicking on. And you can change the colors as you go. Like maybe I'll go over to a little bit of a pink. I made my own spray, my own little sprays using re-inker and water. And I got those little spray bottles at Oriental Trading back when they had one of those deals where you can get free shipping on whatever size order. So that little set of bottles were like $5 or $6, somewhere in there. And then I got that in my little bingo top bottles and didn't have to pay shipping, so it was kind of cool. And maybe a little bit down there, maybe tear it a little bit more. Yeah, this is going to be kind of cool, I think. Nice looking. Ooh. And I noticed if you don't give it a really good, if you kind of squish slowly, you'll get big spatters. But if you squish quickly, you get a fine mist, which is, yeah, kind of cool. The nuances on spraying. Alright, so I think that looks really pretty before I even take the stencil off. And that's just kind of a cool little pattern that I've got going there. Now I'm going to show you that little technique I mentioned. So what you can do is grab a scrap of paper or a scrap of cardstock if you're really thinking it's going to turn out good, and just lay down your nasty dirty stencil. And you might even want to put another piece of paper on top just to keep your hands clean. Obviously I care about keeping my hands clean. Wouldn't want to ruin my beautiful manicure. And then when you take this off, you just kind of got a cool pattern. You know, hey, it looks kind of like a 4th of July-ish. You know, it never comes out perfect, but it always comes out a little interesting. And it just, you know, helps you clean your stencil. The pigment ink does like to stamp your stencil though. Alright, so where are we at? We've got this. It is this far. Something else I really enjoy doing is making my own stamps. And I've got this polka dot one that I made. I used a stamp maker but you could punch out like circles out of foam, fun foam, or you could hand carve or whatever you like. And I'm just going to throw a little bit of pattern in with that. Or you can use whatever kind of random pattern stamps you have. And again, I might go in there and just kind of protect a little bit of, I need a new mask here. I'm just going to get dirty ink all over everything. And just kind of stamp over as I go, and just to give a little extra dimension. This would be some really fun techniques for an art journaling page. Or, you know, you can just make your own background paper, because sometimes you just don't want to do something, but you don't want to commit to a scrapbook page or anything too, you know, heavy. You just want to do something light and fun. And this is just a great way to kind of explore some mediums and have fun, and, you know, just have a nice old artsy time. If it turns out looking great, you can always save it. If it looks awful, you can always toss it. I like my curved blocks. This is a rock-a-block that I'm using here. And, oh, I'm going to turn this because I need to be kind of at a good angle to stamp this. Oh, that's pretty. I like that. I kind of would like to use that again, but I don't want it to be too repetitive, so I'm going to see what else I have for swirls. These are like older than the hills, the Rana-Farrer swirl stamps that were popular a few years ago. I still like them, so I still use them. That's the thing, you know, a lot of people get rid of stamps as soon as they're retired or as soon as the next thing comes along. But if you bought it because you liked it, then keep it, because you'll find a way to use it again. I still use my decorative scissors, you know, because I like them. I wouldn't have bought them if I didn't like them. Alright, that's kind of cool. It still feels like it needs a little something else. I think it might be because it's bigger than the other one. So I probably want to add a little bit more without, you know, overdoing it. So I'll think on it a little bit. But for all intents and purposes, there you have it. We've done a little bit of coloring. Something that's bugging me. I don't like this white area here. So this is another little trick. You simply take your marker and scribble. This is just a plastic cutting mat from the dollar store. Those flexible cutting mats. You get 2 in a package. They're fabulous for protecting your work surface. And I'm just use my water brush and picked up some of that ink with the water, and I'm just going to go around and fill in right around here. So basically I've turned my marker into a watercolor. And it's a great way just to do a little painting or to kind of fill in where you've missed it with some ink. I'm going to do some with a little pink. My pink is still in my color spritzer tool here. Actually, you know what? It might be kind of cool to spritz over that. You know, let me get that line back up in there. I think that would look kind of cool. Oh, I like that. Because it's going to kind of blend out a little bit in the inkiness in the water. There, and you can see we kind of even lift up other ink that you've sprayed on there. I think that pink ink that I had sprayed on was a watered down distress ink, so it wants to reactivate when I put more water on it. So that kind of looks cool. I can layer on more stencils. I could do some more flowers here and there. But I'm just going to wait and see what else I want to do to it. But for now, there you've seen a few techniques you can try with your watercolor markers. I really enjoy these new neon markers from Letraset. I don't know, I think I saw them on their website. They have a lot of new products on their website right now. So these are water-based. They are not like your pro markers. They are watercolor markers. If you're interested in some nice bright colors, there are 6 here, and they blend really well together, which is nice because, you know, you don't need to have 25 markers to get these to blend. These will blend with just the 6 that are there. So have fun. Try these techniques with what you already have. If you're looking for other markers, check out those Letraset ones. And until next time, happy crafting!